Welcome to the iSearch podcast. Today we have Nadia, the CEO of MyBump, on the show. So MyBump is an advertising technology platform powered by the crowd to provide brands with a 360 reach. Today I'll be discussing with Nadia on how to crowdvertise your brand and also leverage on the power of a crowd for your brand marketing. So welcome to the show, Nadia.
Hi Ben, thanks so much for having me. Pleasure to share as well as discuss more about crowd advertising with you.
Okay, sounds interesting. So could you share how does crowd advertising or crowdvertising works?
I think we can just go from the basic foundation, right? So when we talk about conventional advertising channels that you may be familiar with, like radio, TV, billboards, so all these advertising channel has a one-way communication angle. And it's usually from one source to a generally anonymous mass audience, right? So this is known as one-to-many advertising approach. So crowd advertising is a shift in terms of the advertising space that is much related due to the advancement in technology. So because of now people are much more connected on their mobile phones, or even to a certain extent like tracking capabilities that is possible. So end consumers now actually play a bigger role in terms of brand awareness, and we see this a lot when it comes to community-driven brand engagement, or like groups of same interest-based individuals that promote specific brands. So this is what we call many-to-many advertising approach, because each and every individual is equipped and also capable to share brand stories or even market and advertise for other brands. So crowd advertising brings this all together, where we have marketing strategies and marketing messages being shared by the masses.
Okay, so how effective is crowdvertising, and also what type of results can a business expect to get?
So crowdvertising, I wouldn't say that we came up with a term, because if you look at influencer, for example, that is also an example of crowd advertising. They are individuals that share their messages to many, right? And nowadays, when we're looking at mega celebrities, big influencers, we also have like what we call KOLs, key opinion leaders, with much more smaller followings, but very niche group. So I would say that social media has supported crowd advertising. But what differentiates us in terms of our approach with normal influencer marketing is we're bringing this to a wider scope. So we're looking at an angle where everyone can advertise for brands. And that can be either through their own assets, like cars, for example. So car wrap advertising is one of the services we provide. You can wrap your car with a brand and you can earn passive income from that. Or you have your own social media platform, for example. We also provide online influencer marketing strategies where we match brands with a specific influencer that's good for them. Another service we have is consumer feedback and surveys. If any brands are looking to find reviews about their product, or maybe they're launching a new flavor into the market and they really want to get feedback from a specific segment of consumer, let's say male between the age of 25 to 35, we can actually drill down and pinpoint who are the specific people that can actually do these jobs for the brands. So it's all interrelated in a way. And on our side, of course, it's a two-sided platform. We have one, the everyday people looking to earn passive income through advertising jobs. We call them brand ambassadors. And then we have the clients, which are the brands, media agencies, business owners that are looking to promote their product. So how we execute, again, relying very heavy on tech in our online platform, is we can select ambassadors that fit specific demographic or groups that the client wants. So we have three main data sets that we work with. One is geolocation demographic, second is demographic, and thirdly is consumer behavior. So just walking you through the process, right? So if a client comes to us, say, Nadia, I really want to advertise my outlet that is based in Cheras, for example. So from that information, we engage ambassadors for car wrap advertising that we know for a fact drive in those locations, or either work or stay there, to provide that very targeted exposure on outdoor advertising. Or we can also have clients that come to us and say, Nadia, I have a new drink business, and our target is really youths between age of 18 to 25, maybe in Mont Kiara area. So in that case, in terms of selection of ambassadors, we'll filter out based on demographic, consumer interest, as well as geolocation too. So that's the beauty of crowd advertising, because compared to conventional media channels, right? Usually, I think more familiar would be like Facebook and Google. It's purely digital. But when we are adopting the same concept to outdoor and everyday consumer backing a product or a service, you're having this army of, I would say, influencers, offline and online marketing for your brand.
Because your advertising will be in the car, so how do you manage to target this group of audience in that particular location?
Okay, so just to recap, right, Ben? So in terms of our services, car advertising is one solution. So we call this the outdoor solution now. We also have another outdoor solution called Crowdstorm, where we actually have people supporting events. So for example, if client is launching an event in Mid-Valley, we can mobilize like 100 people, 200 people wearing the brand shirt, walking around the mall and really just engaging with the crowd. So that's outdoor solution, right? Our online solution is our social media KOLs or influencers, as well as the product review angle. So you can view us from a 360-degree angle, right? So offline and online, we provide both services, but the core of it is the end consumer or the ambassadors, the everyday people that's rolling it out. So in your example earlier, that you want to target the youth in Mont Kiara, right? If you're looking for outdoor, what we would recommend usually is do a combination of outdoor and also online. So for outdoor, we find car app drivers that drive in those locations, maybe in more hipster location like the cafes, where we know for a fact these demographic usually like to hang out. Of course, because it's MCO, right? So if it's MCO, then we much focus on the online segment, where we select ambassadors that actually fit that criteria within that age group, within that geolocation of staying, and have them represent the brand and promote the brand online.
Okay. So let's say if I'm a restaurant in Cheras and I only want to advertise in the Cheras area, I can also set my location, and then the car will only drive around Cheras area, and it will not. Let's say if the car goes to, say, Kota Kemuning, then I will not be charged for that, right?
Good question. We also get that from clients. So we have two different approach. One is what we call mass advertising. That means wide coverage, right? So if it's mass advertising, they're covering more than one location throughout Klang Valley, for example. So we select ambassadors that are high mileage. So these can be our e-hailing ambassadors, or just for a fact, they do it because of the nature of their job, like salesperson or servicing clients. Then that's a mass approach. But if you're looking at targeted, in your example, Cheras, yes, we will select ambassadors that we know that work or stay there for a fact, and that is their usual traveling route. But there might be instances where they might drive out, and we can't really stop that, right? So we keep that open-ended, because at the end of the day, it is also a plus for the brand. But if, let's say, the brand comes and say, Nadia, I want the drivers to really focus on my outlet in Cheras because I'm having an event launch or an outlet launch this weekend, we can actually mobilize those ambassadors to come and park at the location or do convoys. So it's really about tying it together with a strategic marketing initiative or the angle of the brands and the clients.
Okay. I guess another question that a business owner might ask is, what if I pay for this advertising, but then the driver doesn't drive as much?
Correct. So I'm very excited to share about this, because all these problems is what we have to go through, right? So what we have for the client side is guaranteed mileage as well as impressions. So mileage is very straightforward. Of course, all our ambassadors are tracked by a mobile app. We also get their odometer reading at the start and end of the campaign just to verify. And until we actually meet the guaranteed mileage, that campaign will not end. So this has been very beneficial for clients during MCO. So we launch a campaign, we have a minimum mileage guarantee. A campaign was supposed to be for 2 months, extended to 4 months because of the mileage guarantee. And that is part of our service guarantee. Going on the impression count as well, in terms of gauging how effective is my ad. If you're familiar with Google ads or Facebook ads, you know that, okay, I can go by impression count. Where's the target location? So that same amount of reporting standards as well as metrics is what we're bringing to MyBump Media when it comes to car advertising, for example. We also look at the traffic condition. So in heavy traffic, you get higher number of impressions. In lower traffic, of course, if a person drives at 2 a.m. in Bangsa compared to 2 p.m., the amount of impressions and the chances of people seeing it is much lower, right? So that's how we do our measurement and tie that with our performance guarantees as well.
Okay, I think with the guaranteed mileage, then at least business owners will know that, okay, at least my ads will be seen lah
Yes, that's right.
at home. Okay. All right. So for business owners, where can they track their results, their month-end results? Do they have like a dashboard that they can track themselves? Or there will
Yes,
be a month-end report?
Absolutely. So for all live campaigns we have for our clients, they have an access to an online dashboard. And this ties back with our mobile app on our ambassador site and the analytics in our backend. So every time a driver drives, they have to click tracking. That's how we gauge the traffic condition, specific time when they're driving, as well as the exact GPS location, right? And this is reflected on the online dashboard. So for clients, you can actually see a heat map in terms of what's the overall exposure of my brand. You can also know what's the mileage that they've driven, what's the overall impression that I get. And in addition to that, you also get to have an assessment of your ROI, right? How many CPMs do I have to spend, or how many CPMs do I get out of this campaign? And this has been very helpful for a lot of brands that are very heavy on analytics and data tracking. So they can also gauge if I'm spending, let's say, 10K on Facebook ads, on Google ads. This is the amount of impression I get. This is my CPM. Same case, if I'm spending with MyBump Media, I'm doing crowd advertising with MyBump Media, I can also gauge what is the CPM and effectiveness of my campaign.
Okay. I think there's one question that I'm curious also, because like Facebook ads with the impressions and the reach, right? They can, I would say, they can generate like the impressions through how many people are seeing on Facebook. But then for driving offline, how do you measure like the impressions? Because we won't be able to know like one car got how many person in the car, or how many cars are in the road during this period. So how do you gauge that?
So the impressions for on the road, we gauge it from traffic condition. So there's a specific denomination of opportunity to view or impression given a traffic condition. So if fruitful traffic, then it's usually medium traffic, then slightly higher. And of course, if it's no traffic at all, it's much lower, right? So that's how we compute the impression count. I wouldn't say it's very straightforward as to Facebook in terms of scrolling and people seeing the ad. There's more of an opportunity to view based on the density of traffic as well as density of areas of people in those locations.
Okay. And is MyBump available throughout Malaysia?
Yes, we are. We predominantly operate in Klang Valley. This is our HQ. But we also operate, we've launched campaigns in Penang, JB, East Coast, Sabah and Sarawak as well. So it totally depends on the client's request, if they want to have more exposure in East Coast, for example, and really, for example, target teachers even in East Coast. So to that extent, we can help out with the campaign planning and find ambassadors who are teachers.
Okay, so the next one is for business owner who wish to get started with MyBump. How can they get started?
Okay, you can visit us at www.mybump.my. I practiced that. So from there as well, you can either choose many of the different crowdvertising services that we have in terms of your campaign strategies. If you're unsure, then feel free to just reach out to any of our sales team. They can help you guide in terms of what's the best way to use crowd advertising in terms of marketing strategies. What we found very effective in the past with our past clients is doing a combination. So you can have an offline and online approach. You can have car apps at the same time, same messaging and same content on social media endorsements and sharing by your ambassadors as well.
Okay, sounds great. So to wrap up, is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience before we go?
Yes, I would really, not to toot my own horn, but I would really appreciate interest from clients that want to get to know more about how crowdvertising work. At the end of the day, of course, we are providing a disruptive approach to advertising, but we are also backed by everyday people. To date, we have about 50,000 ambassadors. Most of our ambassadors are in the B40 group or M40 group, and these are looking to earn passive income, right? So bearing that in mind, it's not just about advertising when it comes to MyBump Media, it's also the plus that you're advertising with impact, and you're allowing everyday people to earn income from these advertising campaigns.
I think that's really good what MyBump is doing, that you're also helping the B40 to get additional income, especially during like the pandemic.
Yes, that's right.
All right. So thanks, Nadia, for coming onto the show. Check out MyBump down below, and I'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks, Ben.